Will it run? That is the question. When I originally got this Jeep, I was going to fix it up, probably change the body tub on it because the body tub's pretty beat up. But I've changed my mind on it 2 or 3 times. I ended up stripping it down and took the axles and the winch and everything off of it to put on another Jeep that I got. Then I ended up getting another Jeep and put all the axles and stuff off of that Jeep onto this one to make it run. And that's where it's been sitting for probably 2 years. I'm hoping that it still runs. The main reason for getting it running, I guess, is I've actually traded this Jeep off for something else, and I would like to be able to drive it on the trailer. I've also, in the trade, I included some different wheels and tires, so I'm gonna see if I can get it running, get it in the shop, maybe fix a few more little things on it, and see if we can't get it loaded on a trailer. The first thing I need to do is air that tire up, so I'm gonna get some air in that tire. I need to get a battery in it. I'm probably gonna steal the battery out of my wife's square body. She won't know because she don't watch any of my videos. And I'm gonna put a little gas in the back of it and see if I can't get it to fire. Hopefully it'll fire up and I can just drive it in the shop. This tire might be a little sketchy. Hopefully it holds air. It held air last time I aired it up. Oh yeah, that gap's closing now. We're good to go. She's gonna hold air. She's good for another 10 years. What do you do when your battery is side post and your vehicle's top post? Well, you run down to O'Reilly's and you get some of these. They're basically top posts that'll screw into your side post. Then you can hook your top post up to your side post battery. I wouldn't recommend doing this on a long-term basis, but to drive it around the yard and not have to spend $100 on a battery, I say this is the way to go. Okay, I got the tire aired up, I got a battery on it, I turned the key, the battery is working. Now I'm going to pull the air cleaner off, put a little gas in the carburetor. I'm gonna take my air compressor and pressurize the tank a little bit, see if I can push a little gas up through the fuel line, maybe to the fuel pump. And then we're gonna try to turn her over and see if she starts. This is a Chevy 350 with a 2-barrel Ford Motorcraft carburetor. We used to use these carburetors back in the 90s. They're dependable, they're cheap. You can put a little hose right here, make it longer, keeps it from flooding out as bad. Back then we did stuff more for dependability than power. Well, let's see if it starts up first try. It will run. Believe it or not, that was my first try. I'm gonna have to do that probably 3 or 4 more times until I can get fuel in the fuel line going to the carburetor from the fuel pump. I'm just gonna keep putting fuel in the carburetor and maybe pressure the gas tank up a few more times, and if I can get it to run long enough to get it in the shop, that's really all I'm looking for right now, is just to get it run long enough so I can get it inside the shop and out of this cold wind. starting. I think I can get in this shop now. I got it in the garage. I know for sure that we probably need a little bit more transmission fluid. I put enough in it. I put everything I had in it, and it was enough to actually get it in reverse and pull it in here. It didn't want to pull in reverse at first. So my plan from this point is I'd like to get it out a little better for him. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the lift. I'm gonna check the oil on the rear ends and the transfer case and maybe the brake fluid. I put new brakes on it when I put these axles in it, so the brakes should be fine. But I'm just gonna make sure all the fluids are good. I like to get it idling for him. I'm gonna go ahead and put the other set of wheels and tires on it, which will make it look better. You gotta admit, those look way better. Way better. I'm gonna do that 3 more times and we'll have all 4 of them on, because 3 plus 1 is 4. All right, I got all 4 wheels and tires on there. It makes it look way better than what it looked like before. I'm gonna go ahead and lift it up on the lift, and I'm gonna start checking the oil in the rear ends. I'm gonna start with the front axle, check both of those, and then I'll check the transfer case. If everything's good in those, we'll lower it down. All right, it's like super wet right here, so that's either a good thing or a bad thing. It may be full of water, but it looks like it's definitely full of something. So all we gotta do is take this plug out. This plug is a 1/2-inch drive. Huh. And it's already loose. That might be why it's wet right there. That's not all rusted, so that's a good sign. Check this, I'm just gonna stick my pinky down in there and see what I can feel. Looks like brand new oil in there, I can't believe that. So, the front axle is good for sure. We'll just put that plug back in there and we'll move on to the rear axle. The rear axle, which is an AMC 20, it is a 3/8 Allen head right there. Hopefully I can get it loose. It looks like it's been in there for a while. Oh yeah. On this one, since it's tilted up so much of an angle, I probably won't be able to feel anything in my pinky, so I got a long zip tie to stick down in there. And it looks like it's dry, so I'm glad I didn't actually try to drive this thing up and down the road after I drove it. Well, it's got something in there, but I think it's got a little bit down here. It needs some more in it, so I'm gonna get some gear oil and put some gear oil in it. At least, you know, enough to make it safe to drive it around a little bit. And next is the transfer case, and this is a Dana 300 transfer case. I believe it's this pipe plug right here. So I'm gonna take that pipe plug out and see if I can feel anything inside there. Oh. Well, some ran out when I took the plug out, so I'd say it's definitely full. So I'm not gonna worry about it for sure. All Alright, I think I figured out the miss, and it was on the number 7 cylinder. The number 7 cylinder, when I got it, had 2 plug wires on it, which it was one half of it was just laying up on top, and I cut it off. Well, the other half was still zip tied, and it was number 5 and number 7, and this was all zip tied together, and you couldn't tell which one was actually plugged into the spark plug. Well, it was this one, the one that was cut off. So I plugged the number 7 wire into the spark plug, and I started up, and it does idle now. So at least we got that. So I'm not gonna worry about messing with the motor anymore. I think I'm gonna go ahead and put the tire carrier on there for him. It's gonna take a little probably grinding, maybe a little bit of welding. We'll get that on there, and I'll get the spare rim on the carrier. And then I think I'm pretty much done with this for now. It had a tire rack mounted right here is a bumper mount deal. I've got the tire rack. I think I'm gonna try to get that tire rack put back on there, and I've got a 5th one of those wheels. I'll go ahead and mount it on the tire rack for him. And other than that, I think it's gonna be ready to go. I mean, I may drive it up down the road a little bit, see what it drives like with these tires on it, because the boggers, man, you couldn't even keep it on the road. It was horrible to drive it. All right, there's where the tire carrier mounts. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but this thing is bent way back. So I'm thinking I'm either going to take a hammer and bend it straight, or I'll put the tire carrier on it and then jack it up to kind of straighten that out. I think I'm going to try the hammer first, because that's probably going to be my easiest bet. Just hit it a few times, see what it does. If it moves, I mean, hell, the thing might break off. Oh crap. Well, as you can see, it's already broke for a while. That rusted part's where it was broke before, but I broke it a lot worse, so I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna fix this thing. We'll figure something out. Alright, we got it fixed. If you wanna know how I fix this, I'll post a link to the video in the description below. But basically it's a 1-inch bolt welded in there. But now that I got that on there, I'm gonna go ahead and put this tire rack on there, mount it up for its final time. I'm gonna go ahead and put some of this, the stuff that once you get it on you, you'll never get it off of you, anti-seize, just to lube that up a little bit, because it's like a either a bronze or a brass bushing on there is all that is. So we'll put something on there to keep it from binding up. Ugh, this thing is not light by no means. But she swings. Throw another washer in this nut on there. Eventually I'm gonna get some kind of locking nut for this, or I'll drill a hole through it and put a cotter pin. But for now, that'll be good. On this side, we just got a bolt that goes through it, and that holds this side. It's nothing fancy. Now I don't have a spare tire, but I do have a spare rim, so we'll put the spare rim on there. Other than throwing the back seat in it, that's about all I've got to put on this Jeep. It's ready to pull out and take a couple rips up and down the road. Drive it a couple times, up and down the road at least, before we see it off. I'm not going to do that today because we are in the middle of an ice storm right now. When it warms up, we'll start this thing up and pull it out of the garage and take it up and down the road a couple times probably, or at least around the yard. It's been sitting here for about a week. The snow and ice has melted outside. So we're going to see if this thing will still fire up, and we're going to pull it outside and let it idle a little bit, because I don't want to die of exhaust fumes inside the shop. That's Ford Motorcraft carburetor, man. It's the way to go. sucks is it's been so wet and muddy around here. I can't even go through my driveway without getting covered in mud in this thing. Hope I don't run out of gas. I don't know how much gas is in this thing. I put just enough in to start it, so hopefully there's some left in it from last time. I was worried about the motor not running, but man, once it gets warmed up, it sounds pretty good still. See if it shifts. Little squirrely. Feel like it's probably a good place to turn around. A little backstory on this Jeep. My cousin bought it in the mid to late 90s and he had it for like 20 years or more, I guess, and I ended up trading him a motorcycle for it, and that's how I got it. He wanted the motorcycle, I wanted this Jeep, so we traded, and that's kind of the way that went. I miss that motorcycle sometimes, but I'll have another one like it one day. Heck, I may even have it back one day. Trash piled up there at the curve. The trash man hadn't ran in a week because of the snow and ice. They couldn't get up this hill. Well, the brakes worked enough to get us stopped there, so we just gotta get back up the driveway without getting stuck. Man, think about these old Jeeps, they're just, man, they are a blast to drive. Well, it runs and drives and stops. Nothing's perfect on it. It doesn't run perfect, it doesn't drive perfect, and it doesn't stop perfect. But it does run, drive, and stop. I'm gonna say that's a win for sure. I mean, this thing's been sitting for years. I bet it sat, I don't know, 5 or 6 years before I got it, and I've had it for 3 years and it's just set. So the fact that it even runs still is pretty amazing to me. There it goes to its new home.